ladies and gentlemen, Cone Dodger here. Welcome to a Cone on the Road. It's kind of a Cone on the Road special. I haven't really been doing these terribly much lately because the Minecraft series basically became Cone on the Road. If I'm honest, there's not a whole lot of difference there in format. However, what I wanted to do with Cone on the Road is make it more of the automotive-based stuff. So if I had a car that I wanted to do like a on-the-road impressions video again of, or just some general car news or stuff to share, that's what this format will be for. Today is special because behind us, you might be able to see, you might not, the Mark II Supra is following us, and that is a car that I started as a project for video over a year, almost a year and a half ago now. The process of getting that car on the road, and if you don't know, that is a 1985 Mark II Celica Supra. So it's the last of the Celica Supras. It is a car owned by my roommate. He bought the car years ago now. I don't remember how many years, but a long time ago. We did it kind of as a sight unseen, saw it on Craigslist, gotta go get it kind of deal. That's where the car came from. Drove down to Daytona to get it, kind of in the middle of the night, and drove it back, sight unseen, like I said, and just kind of hoped that it would make it. It did. Drove the car for a while. It is, and it was, in desperate need of restoration, however. The body had lots of rust issues. It was a car that had been left to sit for a long time, had plenty of issues with the like rust issues and things like that, and just neglect issues. But mechanically, it was pretty sound. You know, it never really let him down. It never failed on him, which is something that, you know, a lot of people say about Toyota, and was definitely true in that era, even if it's not really true today. So that's where that car came from. I did a video series on it. I really wanted to do a lot of that kind of content with it. However, through the fact that, I mean, it's his car, honestly. It's not my car, but I took the initiative. I was the one that was like, hey, can we restore that thing? I would really rather it get restored. And I don't mean like concours d'elegance restored, more just like acceptable to be seen around kind of restored. You know, I put that initiative in. So I was willing to put some money towards it, but I didn't have a lot to put towards it. Well, through changes in, obviously you guys, most of you will know the changes that have gone through for me, changes have gone through for him, and I don't know, it just kind of fell apart a little bit there for a while. We couldn't get the funding for it, didn't have the time for it, etc., etc. The same thing that happens to everybody's project. This happens to anybody that works on cars, I think, or has project cars. It was very hard for me though, because I really did fall in love with that car, and I just didn't want to see it go to waste. I didn't want to see it end up under a tree again, rusting away. So I did end up fronting a lot more of my time and a good bit of my money towards getting it going. But the owner of the car has also helped me out significantly. Like, you know, he okayed that whole project and idea and whatnot to try and help me get into this kind of content, you know, doing the car-based content. So it's not as though it was just a one-way street there, but as the progress and the project went on, I think he kind of lost inspiration on it. It was his first, you know, big car project like that, and it is hard. It's very hard to maintain the inspiration once you don't have the experience of driving it. Once it starts to sit there, and it sits there for long enough, you forget how much you wanted to drive it, and you forget what it was like. You forget why you wanted to fix it at all, and it's just a nuisance to you then. You know, it's just this thing that costs me money and I'm not getting any enjoyment out of. That's where projects like that stall out. But I would not take no for an answer. So finally, it is on the road. It is not nearly as complete as I would have hoped. There's a lot of things left on it that could have been tidied up. The interior still needs to be done. That is 100% his responsibility because he works at an interior trim shop. And, you know, that's one of those things that if he wants it done and he wants it to be nice in there, then he's going to have to, you know, put in the effort and stuff for that. But, and I don't know, maybe he will, maybe he won't. What I wanted out of it was to make the thing presentable. I wanted it to be, you know, something. It's a car that draws a lot of attention. The Supra badge across the back draws a lot of attention, and just, it's a car people don't see anymore. You know, it's a shape, it's an era, it's something people get nostalgic for. You know, it draws a lot of attention on its own, and I wanted it to be in a condition that it looked like it should be something like that. There's a lot of firsts that have happened with this car, though. It was the first timing belt I've ever done. It was the first valve seals I've ever replaced. It was the first time I'd ever done any welding. Let's see. I had done the clutch. We did a clutch. We did a power steering rack. We did things like that. I was familiar with those. But the welding and the bodywork stuff, that was new to me. So that was, it was a fun, like, skill learning challenge. And through that, through me getting to learn on that car, it also got to be in better shape. So there was a nice balance there. I'm doing my best to kind of, I don't know, justify the amount of effort and time put into it, because it's hard. It's really hard to, when you start to get down to that point of a project, and sometimes even when you're, you know, kind of done with it, it's hard to realize, you know, that what you did was worth it. So sitting here now and talking about all the things that I did and the skills that I may have learned, it makes me feel a lot better about it, honestly. It does. And it's the perfect platform for it. It's the Mark II Supra. It's not the Supra. When you say the word Supra, people get all excited and they get, Supra, turbocharged, 2JZ, all that stuff, and, you know, they get all of those emotions. And then they see this and they're like, what is that? So it's not a car that, you know, it's not like a holy grail car. It's not something that people would be upset about, you know, this kind of back shed restoration on. You know, it's a good platform for it. People respect it and people are interested in it, but it's not something that's like going and, you know, hodgepodging together some kind of rare low production number exotic, or you know, like an exotic or a rare muscle car or something like that. And you see that all the time. You know, people that just, you know, do things to rare cars in either tasteless or just unskilled ways, and I can see where that's upsetting. But I don't think anybody would be that way about this car, or the way it is now. I think people in general will just be happy that it moves, that it drives, you know, that it's staying around. It's not the height of the Supra. It's not the most important, but it's a reminder of where it came from, and it's a reminder of the era that it's from, and that's what makes it cool for me, and that's why I wanted it to stick around. But like I said, the reason that this project was started was so that I could do more automotive content. It's an area I've frequently said that I want to, you know, break into and I want to do well with, and it was a good introduction to it. Although I really introduced myself to it with a 240, I felt like this one, you know, started out having a lot of structure, and I felt very series-like, I guess is what I would say. You know, it felt like I was doing something official, and there was enough people following along with it. Unfortunately, it got so drawn out, and the project got spread out over so many months. About to destroy a Lincoln right here. You know, it probably lost a little bit of the following and whatnot. But people still, I think, do, you know, want to know where it is and want to know, you know, that it's still around and that it got done. So I am glad that we got it to that point. But I'm not quite at the point just yet of, hold on, I forgot that I haven't done a Cone on the Road since changing the exhaust on this car, so I don't know how much you can hear me or not. Luckily, it shuts right up once you're at speed, but when you're accelerating, it's loud. It's a little bit loud, but now it should be fine. So yeah, that was kind of why I went there. At this point, I still don't know what my goals are for this kind of content or that kind of content. Like I said, I want to do more of it, and I did talk about this in Minecraft, and I just know that, you know, some people do not watch that and are not interested in that, and that's cool, that's fine, it's whatever, but just know that if you like this kind of stuff, it's mostly that. But, you know, I'm kind of at a crossroads where I want to do more stuff like that, but it's hard to justify putting money into it because, you know, my overall situation is not good enough to have money to just invest in something like that. You know, the right way to do it would be to have all of the money sitting there ready and waiting so that I could start the project and then finish it in a timely manner and do a, you know, a video series or a live stream series based on that in a short enough time that you could keep people interested. I think that's the important part. Like when you look at things like Roadkill, they usually start and finish a project in that one video in a short amount of time. And they do that because they know that's how people work. That's how long people have attention spans for that kind of stuff. Not all the time, and there's different examples. Mighty Car Mods does it in a very different way. You know, their projects usually span over a year or more. And that's cool that they can do that and keep people interested. So, I mean, I'm not saying it can't work the other way, but they always have set goals. They always have an episode where something gets accomplished. You know, it's a start to finish adventure through the episode, and then, you know, you have some closure at the end of it. I couldn't get to the point where I could do that. You know, I didn't have enough done on any given occasion that I could just sit down and be like, cool, that's an episode. So if I want to return to that kind of stuff, that's where I need to get with that. It's not that I have a lack of things to do, that's for darn sure. I got a 240 that desperately needs to get back on the road. That's where I started all of this content, and I want to get that car going again and, you know, push it further. But once again, if I can't, that's the lesson learned. If I can't do it to begin with, like if I don't have the funding or the financing to do it to begin with, then I'm not going to do it at all, basically, because it's too hard to keep either motivated or keep like a series or content like that going. So that's kind of where that sits. In the in-between, though, we have the Dancin, the project Dancin. And what I'm doing with that is kind of what I ended up doing with the Supra. It's for practice. It's for getting better at the craft. And what I'm doing with that one, as I've decided, is to try and do live streamed content based on automotive repair or just, you know, wrenching and stuff like that. Is it done to the degree and the caliber that I would like? No. Is it done as often and as structured as I would like? No. But I know that every time I go over there and I host the live stream or I set everything up, I know I'm getting better at it. So I know that once I get to a situation where I am comfortable enough to really, you know, make an initiative to focus on that kind of content, I know I will have the tools and the knowledge and the knowledge and hopefully you know, the experience to do it well. And that's what keeps me motivated to keep doing that kind of stuff. That's kind of where I am with all of this kind of content. I worry it's going to be too little too late, just kind of like I was with the gaming stuff. Certainly, if I had started doing the content I make now 5 years ago, I'd be in a totally different place than I am now. I have to imagine. But it didn't. And, well, I guess I said 5 years. It's already been 5 years. 7 years, 8 years, whatever. But I didn't. I can't change that. I can't change the past. I wasn't at that point then. And it took a year or two before I even made content that I thought, was, experienced in quality. So it takes time. So all I could hope is that through doing the practice stuff like the Supra has been, and like the Dancin stuff is and will be, that hopefully someday we can break through with that kind of stuff. So mostly I'm going to be focusing on the gaming stuff. That is, I hate to use this term because it's so cliche and gross, but it's my bread and butter. And it's something that I can do. There's no excuse for me to not be able to do it. I can. So moving forward, there's exciting stuff there. Like, I still love doing that stuff, and it is getting better, and I think a nice sizable pool of people now are interested in anything that I do, that it's enough that no matter what video I'm putting out, it feels like there's enough people there that are interested in it that it's worthwhile. So that's a fun and cool place to be with it. And we got cool things coming up. The F1 2018 career, I think that's going to be very, I don't want to say hyped, but it's going to be something that, has a good surge of interest, because the F1 2017 career has really grown and grown, a core group of people that follow that series, and they're going to be excited for the new version. So I think that's going to be great. We may, I haven't really discussed any details, but we may bring back the multiplayer series as well. So I will probably simultaneously have the career going and a multiplayer season going in 2018 with, probably some of the regulars. And like I said, we don't know a format yet. We got about 6 days to figure that out. And then we got NASCAR Heat. That series didn't really do amazing, but it did have very dedicated people that followed it. Well, there's a new game coming out, and if I start that series when the game is new, I'm sure it will do better than NASCAR Heat 2 did a year after it come out. And it does look like it's a better game besides. So that's exciting. Still got all the automation stuff that's exciting to do, and the BeamNG integration. Automation will be getting, a campaign again soon. So there's exciting things there. There's something else. There was something else I was thinking about that I'm excited to be able to do here soon as well. Oh, ACC, I don't know how that's going to go, but I do want to get back into sim racing. I realize that most of the racing stuff I do anymore is fairly arcade-ish. It's not particularly sim racing at all. So I'd like to get back to either an Assetto or an iRacing series soon. And all of that basically starts around PAX West, which I am going to. It is 11 days, something like that, until actually it's only like 10 days till I leave for PAX West. So I am going to Seattle, and I will be there for about 12 days. I think it's actually like 11 and, like half a day, basically. So I'll be there, staying there with some patrons and some friends over there who helped me out. They are basically the reason that I am going. They did that all on their own. They set it up. They funded it. They were like, you're going to PAX West, and they know who they are. I'm not going to name them by names because I don't think that's what they would be into, but I hope they know that I really do appreciate that, and it's an amazing, opportunity. It couldn't be happening at a better time because I have been in a Funcola and a half lately, so I need something like that to kind of give me a breath of fresh air, even though it's going to be smoky and dreary out there. But I am excited. We're going to be spending time with them, meeting fans and whatnot at PAX West. If you're in the area, Seattle area, just know that I'll be in PAX West, and we'll probably do meetups and stuff like that. And then for the week after, I'll be staying with Kurt, and we're going to do some, cool Corolla stuff and do some, sightseeing of Seattle. Hopefully he can show me around some, because that's just an area I've never been there, obviously. I went to California last year for a flash of a minute, didn't really get to see anything. So I'm super excited to see some like West Coast nature and, you know, just something other than goddamn Florida. So sick of Florida. So I'm very excited about that. But do know that I will be gone for about 12 days. It'll probably be, you know, a span of about a week and a half to 2 weeks that I won't be making videos, but I will pre-record some of the F1 campaign and maybe the multiplayer series. I'll see if I can get them together to go up that week. There won't be any Minecraft or any of the other little sporadic series, but there will be some stuff, and I hope to record some stuff out there. We'll see. I'll bring the GoPro, and yeah, like I said, we'll just kind of have to see if there's some opportunity to do some recordings. I would like to do a Kona on the road in the Corolla. That would be super cool. Things like that. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. This actually went a little bit longer already than I wanted to, so I'll cut it here. And then the Supra looks like it's doing well. Hopefully, we can find somewhere chill and record a bit of the Supra so you can see the state that it's in. It's not perfect, like I said. It's a 5-foot car, but kind of just a general state of where it's at. And maybe we'll get a word from Slag, the owner. I don't know. He probably doesn't want to actually talk on camera and whatnot, but we'll see. And yeah, cut, I guess. It was a bazillion degrees out, so we didn't end up doing any additional stops to do an overview on the Supra. We did accidentally kind of crash, quote-unquote, a Good Guys Cruise-In, which is like an old school, you know, muscle car kind of car show that had no idea what was going on, but that was interesting to drive it there and drive it around that crowd, because it's an oddball in that community, for sure. It does still garner quite a few looks of disapproval, I'm sure, but I do look forward to the opportunity of maybe in the future getting the Dancin, the 240, and the Supra together for one of these kind of shows and having our own little classic import section. That would be cool. But I am glad to kind of have the Supra out of my responsibilities, if you will, kind of leaving it into his hands now. I've taken it as far as I feel I need to, and it's up to him to bring it any further along in its development. But I'm glad to see it back on the road, and that will do it for this Kona on the road. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time.